Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, I have two very experienced speakers tonight, and we have this equipment in front of us. So, our first speaker tonight is Peter Mace, and he will be speaking from the Competent Communicator Manual, number 6, speech, and the topic is vocal variety, and the speech title is My Addiction, and the evaluator is Anne Ayres. Now, the timer, do you know that it's 5 to 7 minutes? So you know the routine with 5, green, orange, red, right? 5 to 7 minutes. Evaluator is Anne Ayres, so let's ask Anne to read the objectives of this speech.
The objectives for speech number 6 is to use voice volume, pitch, rate and quality to reflect and add meaning and interest to your message. Use pauses to enhance your message. Use vocal variety smoothly and naturally.
So let's welcome Peter Mace with My Addiction. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Pauline. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, tonight I have to come clean. I have to tell you about my addiction. Yes, I hate to admit it, but I was once a heavy thinker. I know. Look, it all started innocently enough. I used to pop along to parties and just have a thought now and then, just to loosen up. But you know how it is. One thought leads to another and another, and soon I was thinking all of the time. I began to think alone, to relax, I told myself, but I knew it wasn't true. I was becoming more than a social thinker. Yes, difficult as it is. And at work, things were difficult as well. I used to think on the job, and I knew thinking and employment do not mix, but I couldn't help myself. I started to think at work. Of a lunch hour, I would go out with my friends for a drink. I'd be off down the library, browsing through the works of Plato, Aristotle, Freud and Jung. And I get back to the office, dizzy, light-headed, thinking, why are we here? What is our purpose? I tell you, things weren't much better at home. I got home one night to my dear wife, and in the middle of the evening I turned off the TV and said, honey, let's talk about the meaning of life. Well, she spent that night at her mother's. I was getting a real reputation as a heavy thinker. One day the boss called me in and said, Peter, I like you, but if you keep thinking on the job, we're going to have to seriously think about letting you go. It's really disrupting the other staff. Well, that gave me a lot to think about. I went home early that night. I sat down in front of my wife and said, honey, I have to confess, I'm a heavy thinker. She said, I know, you're a heavy thinker. I've had enough, I want a divorce. I said, it can't be that bad, surely. It is, she cried, it is. You're thinking as much as school teachers and university lecturers. And you know, they don't have any money. And if you keep thinking, soon we won't have any money. Well, that's a faulty conclusion, I said. She burst into tears and flew into the bedroom and slammed the door. Well, that's it, I said. I'm off to the library for more reading, more thinking. I slammed the door and off I hopped into my V8, heading down towards the library. What weighty tomb can I get into tonight? I know. Julia Gillard's new autobiography. How I stuffed up Australia with a carbon tax. Fascinating read, that one. Couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I zoomed into the parking lot and found a spot right at the front. Wonderful, I thought. Jumped out of the car and up those steps I went, 2 at a time to the top. Got to those big glass doors and pushed, and nothing happened. The library was closed. Later I realised a higher power was looking after me that night. But at the time, I was devastated. I sank to the floor, pouring at the glass. Let me in, let me in those books. And then, out of the corner of my eye,